Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. You have joined Distill It, a 360-degree view of life in sports. My name is Wendy Rosenthal, and I am joined by the ever-lovely, the ever-inspiring Eira Switzer, my partner in crime. Welcome.
I feel very inspiring. Thank you. Inspired and inspiring. Thank you.
You know, I'm always inspired by you.
And I feel the same way about you.
Thank you so much. Hey, guys, have you ever had one of those I'm getting to you, Ryan. Don't worry. You inspire us too. Have you ever had one of those crazy weeks? We've had a crazy weeks. And one of the reasons I'm bringing up this crazy week is that we had reached out to a wonderful person overseas to be on our show today. And we thought we didn't hear back. And then we did.
Yeah.
But we heard it back about 10 minutes ago.
Right. So we might be freestyling today, as our social media posts suggested. Or we might have a guest, or it might be a combination of both. And so either way, we're just happy you're here to join us and to see what comes next.
Exactly. It's that kind of week. And so we're very excited that we're having this kind of show to kind of cap off that kind of week.
Exactly.
Ryan, our engineer here at UBN Go. How are
you? Hey guys,
you?
Missed you.
We missed you too.
Yeah, how you guys been?
But you get to see us twice this week. Isn't that exciting? We'll talk about that a little later. We've been really good. We've been on the road.
We have.
We've been to New York.
Busy weekend.
Back and
busy
forth.
Trip to New York, yeah.
Twice.
Only good things, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good stuff.
We love New York. We really do.
We've come to know Manhattan very well.
Yeah, but there's still so much to learn.
Yeah.
So, we hope we get to go back and forth quite often.
Exactly. Our kids don't feel the same way, but
we'll hopefully taking them
They'll
with
be going
us.
with
This
us.
summer. We can take them with us.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
summer.
Exactly.
They're out of school soon.
Let's do it.
Yes, not very exciting that they're out of school.
I know.
We like school. We like when the kids are in school. Frees up our time so much more.
Right.
Anyway, you have joined our really fun and exciting and different and unique vidcast where we talk about all things to do with sports that have little to do with usually what's going on the court, because we like to kind of delve into the world around sports and the characters and the stories, the things that you guys don't necessarily know about, because the stories are so rich and deep, and we love to give a platform to that. We are here because we are the co-owners of a company called the Distillery, Inc. We work with athletes to help them repurpose their athletic intelligence into a life beyond their careers, and we are absolutely passionate about all sports all the time. And so that's why we come to you every other Thursday, except for this week, which will be one more, and I'll tell you about that in a little while.
Yeah.
So today, we always love to have you guys join the conversation. I can't forget to say that. So we hope that if you have something you want to add to our freestyle or our conversation with the coach in the UK, who if he calls in, you can reach us at 323-524-2599, or you can always comment on our Facebook page. We are happy to hear from you, happy to talk to you, and we're very excited about being here. So let's kick it off, since we have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. What do you want to start talking about?
Isn't that kind of nice?
I love it. It's so much fun.
It is kind of fun.
You guys may not like it as much, but we're all very excited about it.
Well, it's just like in sports. It's like we were talking earlier with Ryan. You don't we're really know what's going to happen. It's kind of like we have these expectations.
Yeah, go Raptors.
We have our predictions, right? Exactly. And and we're now talking about the Raptors. I think it could happen. I think they could pull it off, and I would be super excited for them, even though I always root home team. And for us,
you think Golden State Warriors is a home team?
Well, if I don't have my Lakers, if it's something like Lakers Clippers, for me, I go broad. Like it sort of goes, like very local, statewide, and then it sort of
goes from
Toronto.
there.
I have zero connection to Toronto.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's no
layers of fandom.
Well,
there's layers of fandom, exactly. But I'm super excited for Toronto. This I think is awesome.
I think it's awesome, but it's so funny. It brings up a point to me that you said we have nothing connected with Toronto. I have a couple friends there, but besides that,
friends there, sure.
But I think it's interesting because we've had this conversation on the show before, where we love an underdog.
Yeah.
And the fact is that they've never made it to an NBA Finals. The general manager, president, made a very, very controversial trade at the beginning of the year to get Kawhi.
I think it's.
I knew I was going to do that.
We've heard
Kawhi
variations.
Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard. Yeah.
Why?
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi.
We're gonna slay your name,
Kawhi,
Kaihi, whatever. You're an
You're
amazing basketball player, but we're gonna
love
say
watching you and everything you
so
do.
professional of us not to like go
Well,
research this
I do
before.
hear variations.
I do too.
I haven't yet heard him say it himself.
Did you see Drake's T-shirt the other day?
Cry me a river.
No.
Cry me a river.
Oh, is that
so that's
right?
what I keep trying to say. Is it Kawhi? Maybe it's Kawhi
Yeah.
because it's like Cry Me a River.
Right.
Anyway, a very controversial acquisition.
Yeah.
You know, the president of the organization let go 2 very popular and highly touted players in order to make this acquisition, and took a lot of heat and a lot of criticism from the local community as well as the whole NBA fandom.
Yeah.
And, it seems to have paid off. So it kind of, for me, starts there. And it's interesting now that, there's that drama behind his acquisition and all of the challenges they've gone through. And, I'm kind of rooting for them, really, because they're the underdog, which is very interesting.
They're the underdogs, but they've been just doing so well. I mean, some of these games have just been spectacular.
Spectacular. That last game against
really anxiety producing. I mean, if this were my team,
oh my God.
I would be losing it.
18
That's why
18
Drake's
points
so
down?
excited.
Yeah, well, and let's talk about Drake for a second. I mean, there is so much talk about whether he's behaving appropriately and should he be there on the sidelines as engaged as he is. And I was talking to friends over the weekend where it was kind of like, why is it that we find the need to have to create chaos around even the most exciting of things?
Right.
Like can we just be happy for the Raptors? And this is a longtime fan, clearly. The guy is in it, and he's been supporting them. I mean, this is a guy who's been there, whether or not they've been performing well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're in now. They're in the finals, and this is huge for them. And so he's celebrating. I'm not quite sure what the drama is.
He's been named the celebrity ambassador for the team.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
like
why
unofficially, he's not getting paid to do any of this.
All his seats are given to him. Those seats are they're like we want Drake on the court, like right here, and then he's getting excited. He's like, I think it's good for their morale. I don't know if it's necessarily good for like the game.
It's irritating the opponents. It's irritating the coaches.
Can I raise my hand?
Teams. It's upsetting the fans of the opposing teams. Why?
Yeah, I was going to ask this question. Why is it irritating the other team when there are plenty of fans who aren't celebrities that do the same thing?
Yeah,
honestly.
The issue I had was Drake was just like on the court and stuff. He was kind of just like not respecting boundaries in my opinion, but I think he could be doing the exact same thing and no one
Did he get in the way of a pass?
No. Not that I know of. I haven't been watching that.
Is he taunting the opposing team?
Well, probably, but many fans do. All the fans are anyway.
So what is he doing that's different?
What is very offensive to me are the big Drake head things that the other fans are like, I don't understand it. That's offensive.
Right.
Because I don't understand.
See, we create drama. You know what I was like? We can't just be happy. This is an amazing run. The Torontos are there in the finals enjoying something that's a really, really big deal. Drake, have fun.
Have fun.
Keep it safe.
I like that.
Don't be irritating. Just have fun. Support your team. And this is a very cool deal.
It is a very cool deal.
Yeah.
It's very fun for them. So let me ask you this question. Yeah. First of all, I'll ask both of you. Who's going to win?
Who is going to win?
Toronto. Let's go. Toronto.
I just feel like there's so much drama around so many different things. And we've talked about all of the different issues that the Warriors have been battling. And I just think in terms of a mindset, I think the Torontos just have that edge for me. I feel like they've done there's no luck here. They haven't gotten lucky and gotten this far. They have been performing incredibly well. And they have been such a joy to watch. I think that coupled with this drive, like they're in their heads, they see it is done.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just think they could pull this off. I feel like they can win.
I think that it's gonna come down to a game 7.
Oh,
I think it is. I really do. I think a lot of the predictions I've been reading have said that it's going to be the Warriors in game 6.
Yeah.
I actually think because of everything that you're saying, it's going to come down to a game 7.
Oh, I think it'd be so much fun.
Which would be awesome.
That's what we want. We want a great run.
Yeah, we want a great one.
Give us 7 exciting, anxiety-producing, last minute, buzzer beater.
We want buzzer beaters.
We need some buzzer beaters. We do. Those are awesome games.
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that Golden State also has equal drive because it's a three-peat for them.
Yeah, it's big.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
And I think that they know that this team is not going to look the same next year, and not that it couldn't get to where they're to another NBA final, but I think that there is a battle to kind of prove themselves as this team.
Yeah.
So I think that edge along with the...
It could go either way.
It could go either way.
Break them.
It could.
Yeah.
But I think that they just have done it 2 other times.
Right.
And there's something about having done it before.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Listen, I want the Raptors to win, but I just...
No, I get your point. But that's what's exciting for me. It's that either way, whoever we think is going to win, we're talking about that edge that you get from just that mental... That mindset.
Right.
It's because they're all playing beautifully. They're all incredible athletes. They've done incredible things on the court. But it's just that mental edge, and it could go either way for either team.
Okay, I want to ask this question: Is
Kawhi
is Kawhi Leonard the best player in basketball right now?
I don't know that he's the best player in basketball. Do you?
He's having his Jordan moment right now. Is what?
Well, there's a moment, and then there's.
Well, in this moment, he could be the best. Like at this today, he could be the best. Steph Curry, I bet, has something to say about that. Like, no, like right now, I could agree with that. He's on a run. He's hot. He's carrying also, which is kind of a big deal with especially how hyped up the Bucks were and how Giannis was supposed to just walk through them. And then,
by the way, he's an amazing player too. So much fun to watch him.
His future is going to be insane.
Yeah, it's insane.
But yeah, I think Kawhi's having his moment. I think this is his. I think it's his year. I think he could.
But in the scheme of things, there has been talk about him being like literally the next Jordan. Like that he is most like and has more of the qualities of a Michael Jordan than anybody else has since. I don't know.
Right.
And the finishes, the confidence at the end to take the last shots, these big. I don't know. He's
pretty awesome. He's awesome.
He's incredible.
I think he is going to go down as one of the best players that ever played the game for sure.
So cool.
And he's so quiet.
So cool.
He doesn't he's so quiet.
Yeah.
And just he gets on with stuff.
Right.
So interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I love. Even when you're listening to his interviews, he's not engaging in a whole lot of drama. He's so focused on what needs to happen, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
I did Google it, and there are a lot of talks about it, about him being the best player in the league right now.
No, that's why I asked the question, because I find it really interesting. I have to be honest with you. He's not like a name that's, of course, he's a name that's been out there. He's played in the NBA Finals before.
Sure.
He was the MVP. 4 years ago, 5 years ago now. It's not like he hasn't been around, but it's not like everybody's heard of, Steph Curry. Mm-hmm. Everybody's heard of LeBron James. Mm-hmm. Like, he's kind of like that silent stealth, just get the job done.
We're focused on him because he's winning and the attention's on him, or is he playing so differently than he did all those years?
I think there's some controversy around him, meaning he wasn't happy playing in San Antonio.
Yeah.
He was, again, pulled up into Toronto with a lot of controversy around that decision.
And during that time, they were talking about him being a top 5 player in the league at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was there when he was thinking about coming to the Lakers or whatever, and there was talk about that. They were saying LeBron and Kawhi would be 2 top 5s on the same team. And that was back then, before he is having his moment or whatever. So.
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of like... I think he's risen because of what he's done at the Raptors, because he has carried the team to a certain degree. Although I want to give them all a huge amount of credit. You can't. Yeah. There isn't one player that can really carry a whole team.
We know that.
It doesn't happen, and we know when you build a franchise around it.
Right.
Look what happens.
It
might work for 1 year, but it doesn't sustain itself.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's interesting. By the way, I read a really great article. I really like this guy. I read a great article today about how, one of the things one of the reasons why they feel like he's producing so well with Toronto, and whether or not he stays there, that he's a free agent and people are coming after, other teams are coming after him. But one of the reasons why he has done so well is because that Toronto has worked with him to give him like more days off, even though his contract says that he need, like he's making, I don't know what he's making, a lot of money, but they have allowed him, because he does carry the team in such a certain way, to have more days off to allow him to like recharge.
Absolutely.
Like if I'm going to, and that's super smart. And you don't hear that happening, instead of like workhorsing him to death so that he either gets injured or mentally can't handle it.
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting.
There's also another aspect of Kawhi that a lot of people don't have, and he is one of the best defensive players in the league.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
on both ends of the court.
That's why he's so dominant right now, is because and that to your point that he needs more time off because he's working harder than people like just off the rip. Yeah. I don't know.
It's so interesting, right?
We're excited.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
So have fun tonight, everybody. Go Toronto. Go Toronto. Have fun. And I love that they got home court advantage because they won one more game than the Warriors did. Like that kind of sets the stage. You kind of want to go, it's really their year, right? They had one more game. They get home court advantage just for that.
Yeah. If I'm being totally honest, I think it's still Golden State's game to lose.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going to come in, and if they're on fire, they're not losing.
Right.
But if they are a little shaky, Kawhi's going to take over. And
I think they all are.
They gotta come
it's
in
also
on fire.
big on the bench. I think how the bench plays
absolutely.
is also going to really determine.
Sure.
It's
Fine.
very interesting.
All right. We'll be watching.
Set your DVRs if you're not going to be home tonight. Get your wine out of the refrigerator, or your beer and some pizza, or a healthier,
whatever you eat and drink.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, all right. Moving on to our next topic. It has been a sad couple of weeks in sports. We've lost some major figures in sports.
We've been talking lots about Niki Lauda.
Yeah, so we wanted to start with Niki Lauda because both Eira and I are, again, huge sports fans all around, but we love Formula One racing. I'm very passionate, and we're in the heat of, we just had the Monaco Grand Prix the other day, which, I'm getting tired of Lewis Hamilton winning all the time, even though I'm a fan, and I think he's a great driver. Yeah. It does get a little old after a while.
Right. But speaking of Niki Lauda, who pushed so hard
to get him.
Lewis.
Yeah.
And, look at that amazing career.
Yeah.
He's been able to enjoy.
So for those of you who don't know enough about Formula One or who Niki Lauda is, he is one of the greatest all-time drivers ever. 3 world championships, 2 with Ferrari, 1 with McLaren. And interestingly, the one with McLaren came quite later in his life and in his career. I think he came out of retirement for a second time to win that championship in 1984. He is a stalwart figure in the paddock for many years, and on top of that, he was an entrepreneur in the airline industry and had 2 different airlines that he named after himself because he was the president and chairman of those companies. And a lot of people talk about his comeback after a very severe accident at the German Grand Prix in 1976, where he was, life-threatening injuries.
Oh, he had been, last rites had been administered. Yeah. He was not expected to survive.
Burns over half of his body, seared his lungs, which he battled issues with the rest of his life. He was an advocate, interestingly. He didn't want to race in that particular race that he had the accident in.
Thought it was way too dangerous.
Thought it was very, very dangerous. And he was an advocate for safety around the racetracks, the circuits, for many years, even before
suffering that injury.
Suffering that injury, he was very protective of drivers, and because of that, was an instigator to a lot of change in Formula One. And today, when you see an accident, they don't happen as often, but when you do see them, I don't think there's been a death or major injury in Formula One.
They're prepared so differently now for this kind of thing.
The cars are amazing. They protect the driver. So he's been a real force. Yeah. But one of the interesting things, besides giving a nod to him and his career and what he's brought to the sport, you picked up on a very interesting kind of angle, and we always like to find the different angles in all of this. If you want to share.
I was talking with friends about him over the weekend, and we're talking about just the whether the athletic mindset has evolved, over the years in terms of professional athletes and what they are willing to do and what we as fans expect of them or would demand of them, would be comfortable with, because that man came back 40 days after that horrific crash to race again. 40 days. 80% of his body was burned. Mm-hmm. The internal damage was just, but 40 days afterwards. And let's be clear, we're not saying that this is what anyone should do. Mm-hmm. But, you look at some of our huge stars today and it's like, I've got a calf injury, I've sprained a toe, whatever it is. And again, valid injuries. So not saying play on and injure yourself and risk, ruining your career or not, but, that mindset he had that allowed him to come back and do that. What is
or
that?
Why that
Where
he
that
felt he had to,
and why he felt he had to.
Well,
do
he was
it.
He was in the championship race. He was leading in points when the accident happened. So it's like a different
mentality. Would we expect that today? Would we see that today?
I don't know that anybody would have expected it then.
Right.
To me, that's the big question. Yeah. I almost want to say there was kind of a bravado maybe back then. Also, the reality of it is that in those times, they would win a race and they maybe made $15,000-$20,000. The sponsorship wasn't as big.
Yeah.
So when they were working, they were kind of working hard for their money.
This was their livelihood in a very different way.
Yeah.
Because the numbers weren't what we see now.
I mean, you can say it across the board. You look at football players that, would. There's tons of stories, about them breaking a finger, toe, arm on the field, going off, getting some.
And we're not saying you should.
No.
Let's be clear. We're just talking about that was such a spectacular, extraordinary thing to witness and thing to do. I don't know that we would see that or want to see that.
No, I mean, you could sit there and go, he was out of his mind. Like, what an idiot. It probably, that might be.
And that he was allowed to.
And by
that
the way,
wouldn't happen today.
No.
I don't think he'd be allowed to be, to do something like that.
Yeah, at what point are you stopped, right? Like, when is a doctor be like, it's probably not the best idea? Yeah. I mean, he clearly did it. So.
Well, he did it. And, I mean, who knows if because he came back so soon, if that exacerbated his injury. I mean, like.
His recovery.
Look, he was 7 years old. He was not old. And he was vital 70. I mean, he was at every race. He was flying around. Formula One moves around the world every other week. Most weeks it's every other week. Sometimes you have one right after the other. But even traveling around the world every 2 weeks like he was doing, he was every race. He was the chairman, non-exec chairman of Mercedes. He was on comms every single race.
Absolutely.
So the question is could he have extended his life if he had taken more time or just said, look, it's the end of the season, I'll be back. But I also think, it brings up something for me about sports too, is there is as much as we love it and we know what sports gives to people in terms of their skills and their way of thinking, their way of being, there's also obviously a competitiveness about sports that is not healthy.
Sure.
And that does push, we've seen it all across the board. Puts you in jeopardy. Yeah. How many, how many athletes injure themselves and then they go out and play? We keep referencing this this documentary student athlete that shows, this poor kid who, became ineligible for stupid reasons, which we're not going to go into, but ultimately, he injured himself at a tryout for a Canadian Football League and also for one of the European football leagues, and he went out on it.
Right.
Like
it was do or die.
It was do or die, and so he went and did it.
There's
so my guess is back then, Niki Lauda said, I don't know if I'm going to have a seat next year, so I got to get back out there, and I have got to prove myself a champion. And
he did.
And he did. And he did. And, again, who knows if that exacerbated his situation, caused him to have more troubles over the last 30 years with his health than it wouldn't have if he had allowed himself to heal. Who knows? But
we don't know. But what an extraordinary life he led.
Extraordinary.
Phenomenal
and
career.
You know what was so interesting about him? If you ever heard him interviewed, he just was so no BS, man. It was like, you tell it like it is.
Yeah.
And this is how it is, and you either did well or you didn't do well. If you didn't do well, do something about it. Like, no drama.
Sure.
Like, don't give me the drama.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Yeah. A leader, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Ryan?
On to more. Oh.
Anything come up for you?
I mean, I'm stuck on the NBA playoffs.
Okay.
But
That's all Ryan can talk about today.
I actually put on my Facebook page and asked my friends to say what's your favorite story of the week.
Right.
I got 2. Cubs hitter breaks down after foul ball hits child in Houston.
There goes a talk again about how far that net should be extended.
Yeah,
it's still one of the things. I mean, I still struggle with taking my kids to baseball games because it's just one of those where, like, I mean, if you're not, and that right, and when
really?
when I take them, I'm vigilant. I do not take my eye off. I watch because I have that thing. Like, you need to be that one freak accident. I think I would lose it.
Oh my gosh,
I would lose
even
it.
when you're sitting like 20 up
matter.
in nosebleed.
Whatever, doesn't matter. Freak accident.
So funny. My dad has tickets like
freak accident.
My dad has tickets right behind, not right behind, but like a little offset onto the first base line.
Right.
We're behind the net. That's behind first home base.
And you see just fine. That net just used to go. Just
no,
everywhere.
but it's so funny. Like, I don't even
want full nets. I want.
No, here's my thing. I don't even worry because I'm like, darn it, we're never like. They never come to us, right? When my dad is generous, and
I don't think this family was worried either.
No.
No one's worried until a freak accident happens.
Well, but then then I could argue that a freak accident
is
going to
happen.
happen.
This is very different. This is not like football goes into the stands, a soccer ball goes into the stands.
I know it's very hard.
This is really
like the thing that fell on my head the other day on the plane.
Did you?
Anyway, I know.
So awful.
I said we had a week. We had a week.
Imagine this little girl.
No, I don't want anybody to get
ball
hit, but
right in the face.
I'm shocked that you're that that it worries you. That
I'm vigilant.
What are you gonna do?
I watch it the entire time.
Drop.
No, drop. I just need to know. I need to be watching. So if it's coming,
you should be watching. You're at a baseball game. You're watching the ball anyway.
So I didn't hear about the story. Where was she? Was she behind home plate? You said
no.
Or she was out.
No, she was sitting in the left field line,
just beyond the net. I mean, they've done. MLB has done a really great job where all parks now have. It goes.
So just again, if you haven't heard, Albert Almora, I'll say the name slowly so I get it right, hit a foul ball.
Yeah.
And it came down the line and it hit a little girl in the stands. She's fine, thank God. Everything's good. But he was so devastated by it.
There have been fans who have lost eyeballs. They have had concussions.
You probably don't go to hockey games either.
Cracked skulls. I mean, you're just vigilant is what I'm saying. You're vigilant. Like, freak accidents happen all over. I'm just saying that there's certain sports where the injury is much more extreme if, God forbid, a fan is engaged. And yes, hockey, but baseball is really one of those where it's,
And baseball promotes like leisureliness, so it's like, oh yeah, we're just kind of hanging out.
Well, that's why they extended the nets, net coverage, because they didn't want for that to be able to continue, for people to be able to go and relax and sit in the stands and hang out and eat peanuts and look over your shoulder and engage with the fans behind you, and sometimes watch if a player's come over to say hi or toss a ball or sign an autograph. You want to be able to do that. So I need a lot of net.
You also kind of think whenever we go,
remind me. To either not get her tickets to a baseball game,
no, just behind the net. I need a lot of net coverage.
The most expensive ones.
Yeah,
I need a lot of net coverage. Yes, exactly.
Okay, I'll have to ask my dad if he'll let you have some tickets one day, so you'd sit behind that, because I'm always sitting there because my dad is hugely generous and we get to go to some games every year, and I'm like sitting there going, I can't catch a ball. I'm so bummed.
I'm okay.
I'm
okay with that.
Because whenever they do hit it kind of near us, it's usually higher up behind us.
Right.
It never kind of comes.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
I know.
I don't need the ball.
Okay. Anyway, it's a nice story. The nice part about the story, aside from the
is that
poor
he
girl,
felt awful.
that he felt like the pain, like you don't want him to feel bad, but it was very emotional for him.
Yeah, he broke down in tears, and he's reached out to the family, and he very much wants to be connected to the little girl, and which he does the rest of her life.
Yeah,
indefinitely so.
Well, he feels the connection. I think
absolutely.
That's the thing
he's
about
a parent.
And young. He's only 25.
Yeah.
So okay, so that was. Thank you, Claudia, for sharing your thoughts on that one. I liked it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I got another one, and I haven't had time to absorb the whole story, but you might have heard the extra innings for one of the UCLA women's softball players. Who has struggled with heart disease problems, congenital heart problems, since she was a child, and is now on the team that is set to potentially win the national title.
That's awesome.
Yes, this was sent in by Hugo, and he loves the story because of the fact that the adversity that she's had to overcome.
Right.
She was a mediocre high school player. She was not recruited. Yeah. She was a walk-on, and her name is, I should say her name. Her name is Stevie Wise.
So great.
And she's a walk-on. She loves the sport so much.
Yeah.
And now she's had more than one surgery to help heal her heart. Mm-hmm. And she's still having to deal with it, but yet she's, playing at the highest level. And it's a lovely story.
Very cool.
Check it out. It's on ESPN, called Extra Innings for UCLA. Yeah. Softball star Stevie Wise.
Speaking of injuries in softball, did you watch the UT and Alabama game?
I did not watch it.
Did you heard about that?
No. Please educate me. And it's UT.
Let's discuss more injuries. UT's catcher, throws the ball to
softball or baseball.
Softball.
Yeah.
UT's catcher tosses the ball to second base to try and get the first, base player out on a hit. Whacks her own pitcher right in the face. Score in the face.
Oh my God!
You're watching that. It's I wasn't so much just watching.
Let me ask you this question: yeah. Was it a bad throw, or did the pitcher not duck? Because they're supposed to go down.
They're supposed to duck. The game had stopped, but there was it was such a split second.
The game had stopped. Why was she throwing it to second base then?
Because the batter hit, she got it, but she had stepped out off the plate, so it was not a legal bat. But it was a split second where it gets called and the game stopped, and so the pitcher's aware of that, but the catcher's not. The catcher just is moving as fast as they are supposed to to get that ball to second base, and it was just, fine now, but again, can we just?
Can I ask you a question? Did they do a replay like 40 times to show it? Because that drives me crazy.
No,
on television.
I don't know about that. I couldn't see it again. I was watching the game.
There are no images online of it, so I don't think they would. If they replayed it, it'd probably be online.
Right.
So probably.
No, but you know what I'm talking about, though.
No, I know. Yeah,
where there's an injury and they want to see every detail, and poor guy playing football breaks his arm or knee, and they show it and they do the close up, and you're like, stop it already.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him get hurt again and again and again. It's painful to watch.
Well, I won't do it. Even if it's out there, I just can't. No, I can't watch it more than once. But some people will. They want the detail.
Well, obviously some people do because they do it all because they do it. Obviously. They wouldn't do it if people were calling up going, please stop doing that. Maybe we should be protesting more.
Let's protest. We don't have enough to do with ourselves.
There's a lot of things in this world that should be changed.
Right.
Okay.
And that's why we are here, to point those things out.
So this is leading to the next story that I know you wanted to talk about.
Which is, what is, injuries, softball injuries? Oh,
no.
Protesting. No, I had a very busy weekend discussing sports with friends. We were talking about how the Women's Soccer World Cup is coming up in June. And Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan have preemptively declined a White House visit should they win the World Cup.
I think that's kind of hysterical a little bit. Why?
Preemptively. We're not there yet, but,
But why even have to say that? I'm just going to stop you there. I have to understand. Why? Why say that now?
Well,
I understand if you don't like the president, fine. I get that. If you don't want to go.
I think they were just, it was as part of an interview. It was, I think Alex Morgan was being interviewed by Time Magazine. It was just kind of, it was a question the reporter threw out. So if you guys win, because I think they know how some of these players, and these two in particular, feel about Trump, feel about the current administration. And, Megan Rapinoe kneels during the national anthem and has made it very clear that she may never stand during the national anthem again. So I think the reporter knew this and sort of just threw it out there. So if you win, will you visit? And the answer was no. So I don't think they intentionally said out, I've got nothing to do today. I'm going to wake up and say, hey, by the way,
can I ask a question?
Should we win? We're not going.
Because I haven't read all about this. But why? Can you tell us why Megan decides to kneel? Does she have a specific reason?
She's not in agreement with the current administration, the way things are being handled.
Okay. Yeah. So it's really against the administration.
And I think, I think there's more to it. And certainly was a whole lot. And she's not the only player. There's so many players who have done this, not just in support specifically of Colin Kaepernick, but the larger issues at hand that need to be addressed. And so she continues to do that. But, we were talking over the weekend about why it is that, or is there the same type of impact? She does something like that. Is there the same type of scrutiny around her choices as we saw with Colin Kaepernick, or any male, figure who decides to take a stand like this? We talked about this a bit in the car, where we said, if she were Serena Williams, it would probably be a bigger deal than it is.
Yeah,
Is that because it's Serena Williams? Because she plays tennis, not soccer? Because it's, why?
She's black, not white.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say it. Yeah. I don't agree with it.
Right.
But, that's why I'm asking why she generally is kneeling. Because, when Colin Kaepernick decided to do that, there was a very specific cause that he was trying to highlight, and that was the mistreatment of police, by police of black men. Yeah. And I think that, again, I didn't know, and I follow sports. I didn't know as much as you do about her choices and that she's kneeling all the time. And I think that it doesn't get highlighted because yes, she's a female player on a soccer team, which is not the top sport in the United States. It is in the rest of the world. She's not. I'm sure people will look at her, and I hate saying these things because it bothers me to say it.
Right, but
people are going to look at her and go, "Why is she protesting? Like, she's white. She's got a nice life. She's a professional soccer player. Like, what's her problem?"
Right.
I hate to say it that way.
Right.
But I think that's why.
There's a quote from her. I don't know if you want it.
Yeah.
Being gay, I have stood with my hand over my heart during the national anthem and felt like I haven't had my liberties protected, so I can absolutely sympathize with that feeling. And Megan Rapinoe. Yeah.
But again, the larger question that sort of came up this weekend was why is it more important when, male athletes take a stand than female athletes?
I don't think that it should be.
Not that it should be, but across the board, that's kind of the world we live in. Female sports, period, don't get the same attention. Female athletes don't get the same attention. So why would?
But Eira, no. But see, here's what I go back to. It's not. I don't think it's as cut and dry as male, female.
Yeah.
I think it's the sport they're in.
Right.
I think it's their ethnicity.
Yeah.
I think it's whether they're controversial to start with. Honestly, I said Serena Williams. If Serena Williams did it, it would cause a lot more issues.
But criticism, not necessarily that it would be impactful.
Agreed.
Right.
Totally agree. But again, is what I'm not arguing that what Megan's doing isn't impactful, but it isn't as impactful for the positive or for the negative because it's not seen as much.
Right, and that was the question that came up. Why? Why is that the case?
Again, I think it has to do not necessarily with just male, female, like because it's a women's sport. I think there's a lot more factors. I think you have an athlete like a Serena Williams who is big and bold and out there anyway. When she plays, she's super dynamic, super vocal.
Yeah.
She is an individual that is playing constantly at the highest levels and winning, and people know her. She's on commercials. Do you know what I'm saying? So people know who she is. So I just don't want it to be cut and dry that it's male, female. Like it depends on
a lot more.
And it's not right because I think,
and in soccer, she is huge, just for the record. Like she does have incredible sponsorships, and she does, she is out there. And if you follow women's soccer, she is like Serena Williams in
women's soccer. And you would imagine it would be more impactful considering she's playing for the American team.
But I'm not saying that she's not big, but I'm saying she's not. I've never seen her on a commercial. I hate to say it that way.
No, but that's again. So that goes back to a different train of thought, which is that it doesn't matter what this team does, they're never going to be up there because this is by far, we've discussed this many times, the U.S. women's national team is by far hugely successful, popular all around the world. What they have done by far outweighs any successes that the men's team has shown, but we know the male players and not female players.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But again, I would argue a little bit that who's the most popular male soccer player in the United States right now?
Yeah, it's not followed the same way.
Like American? Or like American?
Any of them.
Well,
but I'm saying
people know the international players that come and play MLS, but they're not following. Right. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like I hear you, and I 100% agree. Yeah. But I think that there's so many factors as to why that it's I don't know that the same thing would happen if arguably the best male player in the MLS didn't stand up. I don't know that it would have as much controversy either.
Right.
I can see. I kind of agree with you on that. I didn't even hear. I had no idea about this until we started talking about it. Like, so I don't know if that. Yeah. It's not getting any kind of circle. I don't know how many other people are kneeling also, like in other sports, and I haven't heard about it either. So.
But everyone knows that Drake, is acting out of line.
That's the.
But you're so right. No, but see,
priorities, people.
So here's the interesting bit about what you're raising, and I think you're raising an amazing issue that we can't you could go on for days about.
Right.
Then I could argue it's about what the media decides you're going to see.
Yeah.
Because unless you are either passionate about a particular sport that may not be the most popular sport in America, or you're passionate about a certain cause and you are going to be proactively going and finding out about it.
Sure.
If the media isn't serving it up, you're not going to see it.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a whole layer. Ooh, we need to get...
No, and all of that was just... that's what was coming up. Why?
You know what we need to have is our friend Tony... Oh, we have a caller. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, our friend Tony back.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, exactly. I love it. Our caller's calling.
Hi.
Called in just in time.
Hello.
Brian.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
We're
very good. I'm ever sorry. I was dealing with one of the players' personal issues tonight, so it's all now sorted. So. Yeah, sorry I'm late.
No, we actually have 3 minutes left on our show, but that's all right. But what we would love to do, because you've called in, and that's amazing, is to have a minute of you saying who you are and what our audience can expect to hear from you when you're back on our show in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and we want to have you back on where we can see you, so not just hear you.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah. No, that's fine.
Okay, so we'll
my name's...
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you like me to introduce myself? Yeah,
please.
My name's Coach Brian John Smallworth. Obviously, as you can tell, I come from the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
I love American football. I've been coaching and playing American football for 53 years. I learnt in Texas when we lived there for 5 years in the 60s. I'm a founder member of British American football in this country. In 1983. I've been fairly lucky to have worked with some very, very great coaches. From when I worked at TCU with Coach Jim Wacker, Ray Wilsley from the Oakland Raiders, Jim Grider, Jim Moyer, and the list goes on, and Marty Schottenheimer at Kansas City Chiefs. It's been really, really good. And American football's huge over in Europe. It's huge in the United Kingdom. But I do a lot of work in Cornwall with kids that have got problems. And I find that working with the kids via the sport, there's a lot of kids got depression, and there's a lot of kids got PTSD.
Sure.
And I find sport helps them very much, and hence I'm talking to you guys.
Well, Brian,
anyone that can help in.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to say you have set the stage so beautifully.
Yeah.
Like, we are so excited to have you come on and talk about not only your own personal experience playing American football and what that's like as somebody outside the U.S. who didn't maybe grow up with it the same way we did, but is using it to the good. We know all the good things that you're doing, and we are so excited to have the opportunity to give you the platform to share what's going on, because we know that sports makes the difference in everybody and anybody's life. Can make the difference in anybody's life, and you and your beautiful wife are really working towards that. We're so excited. So we can't wait. You've totally set the stage for the conversation.
Oh, it's so exciting. I'm sorry that I had to deal with this guy.
No, that's what you do.
His wife was ill. It was a cancer scare. It's not. So, he's broke down a little bit, and we've got him sorted, and, that's just how it is.
Sure.
And in July, no one was only staying at my house. I've known Noel for 35 years. So Oh, yeah. I'm going to have a great time with Noel and his son, Grayson. And, yeah, it's nice to catch up with them,
So we're going to give you...
like Noel,
Sorry, I keep cutting you off because there's a little bit of a delay in the call. But we're going to give you a call after the show because we have to wrap up. But but we're promising our listeners and our viewers today that you are going to be on like in the next couple of weeks. So we will sort it out with you.
That was fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling in. It's great to hear from you, Brian.
We'll talk to you in a few minutes.
And you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lots of love.
Bye.
See, guys, it's been one of those weeks and one of those days, but we're so excited that you got to hear a little bit about who Brian is and why we want to have him on the show, the work that he and his wife are doing through football, through American football, which is even harder to do when you're in the
American football in the UK.
And the pedigree that he has and what he has started in the UK is quite tremendous. So this is why we wanted to share his story. So we're really looking forward to having him on possibly in the next week or two. I know we have to look at our diary. We have lots coming up in July, actually.
We do have in June. We've already got, June 13th we have booked. So
I'm telling you, it's been one of those days.
It's been one of those days. But yes, we will keep you posted. So please stay tuned.
And as always, we really appreciate all of you who are tuning in, listening, who are downloading the show afterwards. You can find us at thedistilleryinc.com on Facebook under the Distillery Inc. We come on many of the podcast platforms, including Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes, CastBox, Stitcher, all your favorite platforms.
We're everywhere.
Love us, like us, share us, because we are very excited to bring sports to you in a different way. Thank you so much, Eira, for helping me talk today because I haven't been able to, and Ryan.
You spoke lots and you did very well.
Thanks for helping me say Kauai
me a river.
Kauai me a river.
Kauai me a river.
Kauai me a river.
We got it now.
Have a great week, everyone. Oh, wait, one more thing, really fast. We'll see you tomorrow. We have a special edition, extra show. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
At 11 o'clock.
Fabulous.